Hey Sharon, you got us?
Yep. Hey, Adam, can you hear me all right?
Hi, yeah, I can. Thanks.
All right, then I would like to welcome in the 2007 Vivint Houston Open champion, Adam Scott. Adam, thank you so much for your time. You're making your 8th start in the event. Could we get some comments about your return to Houston and your thoughts on Memorial Park Golf Course?
Yes, it's obviously always nice coming back to an event, being a past champion. Houston has been a really long time in my schedule. I got a sponsor's invitation in 2001, and they've really been very supportive of me ever since, and I'm a proud champion in a really long-standing event on the PGA Tour, so it's fun to be back this year and at a new venue, which looks great. I've played all 18. It's going to be a challenge. The greens are firm. The rough is enough to kind of lose a little control. So if you can hit some fairways this week, that'll be great. And I think we're in for a good test.
And you're making your first start since withdrawing from the Zozo Championship after testing positive for COVID-19. How is your recovery process and how is your game feeling this week?
Yeah, I think fortunately for me, the symptoms weren't too bad, and I was really only feeling below par for a day or so, and then started feeling a lot better. So I think I was lucky in that sense, but obviously my golf preparations have taken a bit of a setback the last few weeks. Having not played since the US Open, I was trying to get some golf in at Zozo and here before the Masters, and not only not getting Zozo in, not getting any practice in for those 10 days either is a little setback, but I've actually come out swinging good this week and at least feel fresh, so hopefully that works in my favor.
Sounds good. We'll open it up to questions. The first question goes to Alan Shipnett from golf.com.
Hey Adam, thanks for making the time. Just wondering your overall perspective on this crazy golf year. How impressed are you the way the PGA Tour was able to keep the show going despite the many challenges?
Yeah, it's been incredibly impressive. The whole organization has had to really dig deep to get this show back on the road and to keep it going, and I think it's been really great given just the way the COVID has seemingly spread. It hasn't really spread on the PGA Tour, and I think that's a remarkable effort and a lot of hard work from the tour staff and everybody behaving very responsibly, I think, out here as well. So credit to everyone involved in the PGA Tour for doing this.
Just a quick follow-up on that. Inside the ropes, there's been a lot of great stuff with Morikawa, Wolf, obviously Bryson. There's been a lot of excitement around the tour, some crazy finishes on the 72nd hole. Can you speak to just the product that's been delivered and the high standard of golf and kind of this new generation of stars that's busting through? I mean, what this season might mean to the tour going forward, just competitively?
Yeah, I think it's kind of setting the tour up for the next generation, I guess. I don't know how many years you want to call a generation, but at least the next 5 to 10 years, seeing young guys break through quickly on the tour like Colin and Matt Wolff has already got his major career off to a pretty flying start, and obviously Bryson winning the US Open. Hopefully there's room for a couple of older folk to hang in there like me for those next 5 or 10 years. But it is exciting. I think the young talent's great. The standard of golf is incredibly high. Even just looking a couple of weeks ago in Las Vegas, the cut was 7 under par. I mean, and there's been a lot of 5 under cuts through the summer. It's unheard of week after week. So the standard right through the tour is very high at the moment, and it's because everyone is incredibly professional and pushing themselves to the limit.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Bernie McGuire from the Daily Record.
Adam, hi.
Hey, Penny.
Great to see you. Great to see you. Sorry what happened the other week at the Zozo. But you're back this week. I know you're focusing on another Houston Open win, but are you thinking about Augusta? Going there next week? Have you been up there? And what would it be like being up there in November without any spectators and that sort of time of year with the sort of less daylight hours as well?
Yeah, I obviously we're thinking about the Masters, and a lot of what I had planned in preparation was to kind of peak at the Masters, and Houston's a big part of that. It's even more important since I tested positive and had to kind of not play in Zozo and not really get practice in and make sure I got healthy again. So this is an important week for me. There's a lot to take out of it. I've made some adjustments in my bag with Augusta in mind, and a new Titleist driver and a new Titleist ball this week. Thinking also ahead, which is actually looking really good for this golf course too. It's incredibly long. So hopefully that little bit of gain off the tee will be helpful here. But again, I think a lot of guys thinking about that next week. Potentially cool weather, a little less daylight, and a very big, long golf course. I haven't been up there because my plans changed, obviously, and I was not free to move around. So, yeah, I'm in for a surprise next week when I get there, but I have no doubt that it'll present incredibly well, as they always do at Augusta National, and it's going to be a great event.
Okay, thanks. Good luck.
Thanks, Benny.
Next is Bob Herrick from ESPN.
Okay, thanks, Adam. Hope you're doing better. I just wanted to ask if you could take us through that a little bit. Were you surprised by the positive results? I mean, were you not experiencing any symptoms? And then were you required, I take it you were in California, were you required to then stay there for the 10-day period of time? And what were you able to do if you did?
Yeah, I mean, I was surprised. I had no symptoms at the time I tested positive, but I developed some symptoms about 12 hours after I tested positive, and I had a slight fever for 24 hours, and a headache, and then that kind of passed, and I continued to get better. But yeah, I had to isolate. I was in the hotel there in LA for 6 days, and once I was sure I was healthy and not kind of just feeling okay, I investigated finding a house by myself for the next 4 or 5 days to isolate, just so I could go outside and get some fresh air. So I drove myself to a house, and again, didn't have any contact with anyone until my 10 days of isolation was up.
I take it you're like a lot of folks, or you're not quite sure where you would have got it. I'm just curious, did anybody in your family or anybody in your circle get it?
Yeah, no, I don't know where I got it exactly, and no one who was contact traced through me developed symptoms or tested positive. Everyone ended up testing negative days after, and they've all been fine since as well. However, there was a bit of an outbreak in our area where we live in the few days before I tested positive, and then the 10 days after. But of course, early on in those outbreaks, you don't know what's happening because no one's tested positive. So I could have just got it from anywhere. Yeah.
Appreciate it. Thank you.
No worries.
We'll go next to Steve Hummer of the Atlanta Journal-Constitution.
Yeah, and if I could take you back to rainy day in 2013 at Augusta, how important in your memories of that is the roar of the crowd, and how big a deal is that, and what do you think the champion, whoever it is, this year will be missing for not having that?
Yeah, it is a big deal. The crowd really enhances the atmosphere if they're not responsible for most of it, to be perfectly honest. I mean, I have very strong memories of those final couple of hours on the golf course as the clouds got low and the rain set in, and it got a bit cool, and it stayed that way. But the patrons there at Augusta, it became like a bit of a hardcore sports fan feeling, and there was such a great atmosphere, especially in the playoff with myself and Cabrera, and everyone was out there wet, but it didn't matter. They were at the Masters and watching some good golf, and I certainly got a strong memory from that. So there'll be something missing for sure, and having played 2 major championships now without galleries, there's no doubt there's something missing out there, and I guess that whoever the champion will be next week will miss one part of a special week for them in not having that experience of the atmosphere that you would normally have.
Thank you.
We'll go next to Brian Wacker from Golf Digest.
Hey Adam, welcome back.
Hey Brian.
Question about next week. Obviously your routine was interrupted this year, but what's been the routine in the past for you in terms of going up early to play Augusta, and what was the plan for this year?
Yeah, for quite a few years I'd always kind of arrived on Friday night or Saturday morning and played over the weekend. But that wasn't really the plan this year. It was to get up there maybe after the Zozo and go and visit for a day or so, and just get a look at it, I guess, in this fall time of year. So now I'm just going to go in Sunday night and play. I mean, I feel like it's nice to go and visit, and it's nice to get familiar, but I've been there a lot and I am fairly familiar with it, and I think certainly without the fans out there next week, Monday, Tuesday and Wednesday will be totally different and much easier to get whatever work done that I might need to do.
And then just to follow up, secondly, what is the actual process for you in terms of, when you do set up a round there ahead of time, be it, a couple of weeks out, and what do you actually get out of that when the course is playing quite different than it does tournament week so often we hear about?
Yeah, it does. It's really mostly for me, I mean, just getting on the uneven lies in the fairways. I feel like it's one of the most severe set of fairways we play on, and there are pivotal shots. Obviously, at all tournaments there are pivotal shots, but even like the second hole, being on that downslope up at the top of the hill, and getting comfortable and understanding how you have to shift your weight around in the setup and the swing. We just don't do that so much, especially if you take a course like here this week at Memorial Park. It's very flat. We're not going to get those extreme slopes. So it's just to kind of have it in your mind so that it's not a big adjustment on a Monday, Tuesday, or a Wednesday, I think.
Great, thanks.
Yep.
Ben Everell from PGATour.com.
Hey mate.
Ben, how are
How
you?
you doing?
Good.
Little dusty watching you on Maroons pull off another miracle all through the night. Yeah,
It was good for you, wasn't
Anyway.
it? Yeah, you love that?
Yeah, that was fun. Mate, we were just talking a little bit earlier, talking about the young guns coming through the next generation, but can you talk to, sort of said it offhand, that you hope that the older guys like yourself can still do another 5-10 years, but I mean, we've had Stuart Singh, Sergio and Brian Gay last week, like clearly the tour still has a place across the gambit, right?
Yes, there's always going to be. I mean, three talented guys you mentioned there, 2 of them are major champions. I mean, I think it just becomes harder for guys getting well into their 40s to be consistently competitive. It just takes a bit more. They've got to find their right weeks and take advantage of that. There's no doubt. I mean, it's a small snippet, but just since we've come back from the shutdown or lockdown, you see Colin Morikawa winning, you see Bryson winning with this new style of game he's developed. Matt Wolff is going very well. These young guys are really challenging and very comfortable mixing it with even, the stars of the game, not even the older generation, but the Rory McIlroys and Dustin Johnsons. They're not seeing anything that they can't do.
Here's a hypothetical then for you. It might be tough to answer, but if we had full crowds this year, would the same results have played out with the young guys?
It's very hard. It's just speculation. I think what it'll be is it's great to see what's set up for when crowds do return, hopefully soon. What difference that makes. There's no doubt I can say for myself, walking out on Saturday at the PGA Championship to the putting green to warm up, it was nothing like I'd ever experienced when you're kind of in contention for a major on a Saturday. There was no atmosphere. It's very, very different. So, I think it's unfair to say there'd be different results. I think only time will tell.
Cheers, thanks, mate.
Okay.
Go to Adam Schupat from Golf Week.
Hi, Adam.
Hey.
There's another guy in the field that's kind of in the same boat as you, Dustin Johnson, and you've been a world number one. You've had hot stretches like he has. How do you think an unscheduled break like he and you have now had will affect him this week and for the Masters?
Like I said, I obviously wasn't ideal for me. I probably wasn't for Dustin either. If he's had to change what he usually likes to do, but if there's anyone who can kind of dust off a change and kind of move on, it seems to be DJ. The way he plays golf, very little phases him out there. Problems on the golf course don't seem to phase him, and he bounces back quick. It's really the only thing that would be concerning is, more like a physical health thing. If he's not really feeling 100%, then that might hold him back a little bit. But I think he's a fit young guy. He should be in good shape, and whatever. When you're playing as good as he has for so long now, 1 week here warming up, I'm sure he'll find all his feelings pretty quick. I don't think he's going to be struggling too much going into the Masters.
And during your quarantine, I'm just wondering, did you quarantine with a putter or two? Did you practice some putting? Do you know what putter any changes with your putting?
No changes with my putting. I bought a putting mat for the hotel room that arrived, and Scotty Cameron his team sent up some stuff for me to just have some fun with, but I'm putting the same way with the longer putter, and that's still in play.
Thank you.
All right, the last question goes to Bernie McGuire with a follow-up.
Adam, just touching on Bryson, are you surprised? Are you shocked? Are you interested? Fascinated? Or just wishing well what Bryson's doing? And also, just a sort of follow-up question on the back of that. Tiger was saying the other day when we asked him about whether they should be curbing the golf ball, and he said, well, they should have done that 20 years ago, and he used the line that the genie's out of the bag. You sort of that view as well, or not?
Well, I'm impressed. I'm impressed with Bryson. I thought his final round at the US Open was sensational. Nothing short of it. It's a great round of golf, what he played there. The whole week he obviously played well, but I think to shoot that kind of round in the final round, any other year, it would be one of the great rounds of golf. Probably a little bit underrated. I think he's certainly opened a lot of people's eyes to what's possible in the game. Now, not everyone is going to have the work ethic that he has. I think that's also impressive. what he's put in. He's now getting out, so I'm very impressed. As far as I kind of agree with Tiger. I mean, that should have probably been addressed long ago, and it hasn't. And you know, I don't want to see us be the only sport going backwards. So that's kind of my feeling. I don't think we should. Nothing in this world is really going backwards.
And look, I'll just get out of here. One little quick question, and I guess it was understandable, but news, and you being the Australian PGA champion, but news that the Australian Open and the Australian PGA Championship this year had to be postponed. I guess disappointing.
Well, it's disappointing, but you know, I mean, it's sensible. Let's face it. I mean, they postponed it and now it's cancelled. I don't know. Maybe it'll be at the end of next year. So let's hope that's possible. But the way, certainly under the Australian restrictions or guidelines, it's going to be very hard to host those events. So I think it's a good thing that they put them off for a year, and hopefully by the end of next year we can have them back as normal.
Okay. Well done again. Good luck also on the football as well, because from a fellow New South Wales and Welshman like Benny.
Tough night for you guys.
We'll get over it.
The good news is you got 2 more games to redeem yourselves.
2-1 look nice.
Right,
Have a good week.
Good luck.
We'll take one last follow-up from Bob Herrick from ESPN.
Hey, Adam, thanks. Just a quick one about the Masters, and just curious if over the years, have you ever been one who's been inclined to buy any of the merchandise there? And you know, this year they're doing the first time ever where they're making it available to ticket holders who had tickets to buy stuff online. Mm-hmm. Would you be inclined to do that yourself?
Yep. I'll definitely take a look. Yeah, they get me for some hats and there's stuff every year that I mostly hats though. I mean, they're not only I like them, but they're great gifts as well. So I'll definitely be taking a look online. I'm sure they'll get me for something.
Thank you.
You got it.
Appreciate it.
Thank you so much for your time. And
Thanks. Thanks a lot.